If you new to the channel, I call all my subscribers dragons, divine, righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking, was smoking on my dragons. This time I got another American reaction video. I'm loving these. These are getting more and more fun. The more I do them, I'm just getting more and more interested. But this time I got, what do Europeans do better than Americans? So, well, I don't know, so we going to dive into this and we going to see. Let's see what they talking about here. Hit original link will be in the description. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell if you wish. And with that being said, let's dive right into this.
What are Europeans better at than Americans? Languages. This is true for practically any other country. Edit, might get flamed, so I'ma just say continent. Except Britain. We're just as useless as the Americans because the continent largely...
Languages, they say. Languages, they say, guys.
Except Britain. We're just as useless as the Americans because the continent largely indulges us in our entitlement by speaking English to the tourists. Public transportation. Edit, Bosnia doesn't have shit transport and we don't need much more. I'm just saying American cities trump us. They meant the part of Europe with jobs, lol. Oof. Have you ever spent time traveling in Germany?
No, but I want to, hopefully sooner than later.
You ever take the metro in Los Angeles? Started on Friday.
Never did that either, and I've been to LA.
I'm almost to my destination. Using measurement units.
He said started till Friday, I'm almost to my destination. LA is pretty spread out, seriously, like from what I've seen.
I'm almost to my destination. Using measurement units. One day our teachers said we were going to learn the metric system in class. A couple days later they said never mind. Laughs in feet. Why did they say never mind? Because apparently they were told we weren't going to be taught it. Using U in Scrabble. And a tilde, e-diaresis, e-o, u-diaresis. Prison systems. European prison systems equals a reform system. US prison systems equals a punishment system.
100%. 100%. I don't know much about European prison systems, but I know American, people usually get out worse majority of the time.
The period from 1850 onwards in Europe is when we learned that you have to change people's behavior to stop them committing crimes and not just treat them like shit for committing crimes. Healthcare planning.
I think everybody in America knows that the American justice system, it makes people worse criminals. When you go in them prisons, people they learn more. They don't really get reformed at all.
Americans were catching up until we played our trump card. Having paid holidays. Or paid maternity leave. Oh my god, yes. I live in a developing Asian country and I was so shocked when I got to know that the US doesn't have paid maternity leave. Edit, I had 6 months of paid leave. Portion control. Came here to say this. Big portions are so normalized here. I've traveled through 30 different countries and in similar classes/types of restaurants, so don't compare fast food in the US to a nicer place in Europe. Portion sizes have not been significantly different anywhere. I feel like this gets popularized because some European takes a tour of the US and only ever eats at Popeyes and only ever orders the family size. Lol, look Karen, the portion sizes are so big. Compared to a basic cafe back home. The only exception is soda drink sizes, and the availability of free refills, but Americans also tend to load up probably more than half the volume of the cup with ice.
Okay, you're probably not lying. That's probably true. That's probably true. I'm not even gonna lie.
You can tell who's American and who's European just by looking at the answers, lol. But seriously, Europeans are more cautious about their health and will go do something about problems. I've heard of Americans avoiding the hospital because of the costs.
Yeah.
Not allowing kids to go into lunch debt. Lunch debt. Sorry, what? Read a news article a few days ago that a school said if the parents didn't clear the lunch debt of the kids, the children might be taken away from them. And then something about a billionaire offering to pay off the lunch debt of the children, but the school didn't allow that. How do you rack up this lunch debt? Basically in America the kids can either bring
I never heard of that. Like, I'm gonna have to look up that article. That sounds wild.
their own lunch or buy lunch from the school like a food court. But it's typically a system where you punch in a number, it charges your account like a credit card, you get your food and a bill gets sent home to the parents at the end of the month. Some parents can't pay this lunch debt and so the schools threaten to take the kids unless they pay, which they can't do and would have no legal right to do so. What the fuck is wrong with American schools? Public drinking. Mostly. Not the Brits though. Source, I'm a Brit. As an American who now lives in the UK, I love when my friends and I go out to a show and start drinking on the train. Even though I've been here well over a decade and know that it's legal in my area, it still feels like I'm being a rebel. One thing it ain't is air conditioning, I tell you what. Being quiet. Everyone in America seems to shout real loud. Also European comedy, such as The Office, is more profound and deep-rooted. I feel as if American comedy is more direct and slapstick. I like both forms though. Profound and deep-rooted my ass. Monty Python is great and all, but that's wit, not anything profound or deep-rooted. Not saying Monty Python is the only example, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. Geography. Wearing clothes that fit. So true. Even Obama had the worst fucking tailoring. Trousers way too long.
Alright, y'all just out here roasting Americans now. Y'all out here roasting. This is a roast session.
Jacket sloping off his shoulders. And now we have Boris, who looks like a pig trying to burst out of a straitjacket. Being able to form an orderly queue without being told to do so. Ha, not in Italy. Laughs in Dutch. Cheese. Gruyere, Parmesan, Feta, you name it. We in the US, on the other hand, have a yellow, nondescript cheese product called American bearing our name. You have enraged Wisconsin. Wisconsin will remember that. Vermont nods in solidarity. Come on, it's not yellow, more like a fluorescent orange.
Damn, y'all coming at the cheese, bro? The American cheese? Man.
Counter-Strike. At me nerds. Rushing bee intensifies. Raising children and training their dogs. I'm an American in Germany and children are so much better behaved. Complete meltdowns in public are so much less common here, and when they do happen, the parents are often actively trying to take care of the situation instead of continuing to leisurely stroll around the grocery store letting them scream it out. Similar for pets, maybe because cars aren't as common so they have to be well enough trained to go on public transport and people don't often have big yards to just let dogs out in. Every day I pass people in the city without their dogs on a leash, but the dogs entirely ignore everyone around, just stick with their owners. Almost never do I even get the chance to pet dogs because they ignore you that much.
If that's true, shout out to Europe. I mean, you got people who, do the same. I'm not even gonna lie. I do. Out in America, dogs definitely pay you more attention. But then you always it's usually the loners that I see that really have their dogs trained the best.
Honestly, way to go Europe, or at least Germany. As for children, I think this is at least partially a German thing. As a Dutch person, it's always easy to distinguish German families from Dutch ones because the German children are much more well behaved. That and socks in sandals, of course. But I haven't been to the US, so I don't know how Dutch children compare to Americans. Noticed the same thing. People took the leashes off in parks and their dogs just walked along with them, ignoring everyone. I'm trying to get my dog to do the same, but here people generally don't ignore her. It's just how things are here. She does fine until a person makes eye contact with her or speaks to her and she loses her shit and starts hopping on her hind legs. I like that she's friendly, but I'd love to occasionally be able to take her on a walk and not have to talk to anyone. I loved the lack of small talk in Germany and the Netherlands. Being informed about other cultures beside their own. There's two things I hate in this world. Those who are intolerant of other people's cultures. And the Dutch. Zegmaker. Coffee. I don't understand how something they named black coffee can be see-through. If a soul can find its way through, the coffee is not black enough. Having a middle class. Yeah, just homeless and millionaires here. My wife, who is French, once
Yeah, it's America pretty much at that point now, where it is pretty much, the middle class is kind of just pretty much out of here for the most part, So they're not really lying on that end.
stayed with an American family before we met. The dad decided to order in pizza, and she said, "Wow, great. I love pizza." The dad was thunderstruck and said, "Oh, you have pizza in Europe, too?" Was the dad retarded or something? No, he's just an American. Making chocolate and other candy. True, and that the default chocolate is always overly sweet / milky / artificial milk chocolate. Even European milk chocolate is different that our.
Alright, I'm gonna have to
Don't get me.
I'm gonna have to try some European chocolate, because I need to. I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to do that. Even when you look at like Willy Wonka, that was in Germany, in Munich. At least that's where it was shot at. So I gotta try that European chocolate, man. Or that German chocolate at least.
Me started on dark chocolate. Being awake when this was posted. Going to the hospital without also going into bankruptcy. Building restroom doors. Out of everything in this thread, this is the one I agree with the most as an American. Coming home from school. How on earth no one said education? In Europe everyone has a chance to good education. Heck, even Asians and Indians come here because it's affordable and sometimes free. Traveling before being old. English guy here.
It hurt my feelings. But at the same time, what can I say? I'm running through tissue here. These allergies have been killing me this year. Maybe in Europe, you guys, the nature isn't so, the pollen ain't so it's crazy as out here, because I don't know. Maybe my allergies would be better out there.
Yeah, who has lived in North America. One thing I prefer, in general, about Europeans is what I would call a pessimistic realism. Whilst the North American shiny happy attitude is at times a joy to be around, after a while it gets quite annoying. A good example of this would be from my time spent in Canada. It felt as though people were terrified to offend, trying to live up to expectations of North Americans as warm and friendly people. This eagerness to please would often come across as disingenuous and make it hard to know exactly how they felt. Whereas English people in general would much more readily speak the truth of the situation as they see it, and this for me is a more pragmatic and useful approach to interaction. Struck me that a lot of Canadians were living to please but dying to offend. Traveling outside one's country, and the interest for it. Most people in the US would love to travel to other countries. Sadly, we can't hop on a train and drive through 5 different countries in a few days like Europe. Most Americans can't.
I never even thought about that. I never thought about that. I mean, yeah, we can't really just Canada,
Can't afford to leave their own state. People want to, it's just expensive to fly across an ocean instead of take a 20-minute train ride. Driving. I don't mean all Europeans, but as a German I feel intrigued by Americans driving cars. The lack of manual transmission experience is astounding. The place I work at does maintenance for rental car company, and all summer literally 85% of our work is changing clutches in all the cars after they get a couple weeks of American tourists driving them. Can Americans who learn in an automatic legally drive a manual? I'd if you're from the UK, but if you learn with an automatic you can't drive a manual? Yes, there's no transmission specific testing here. I took my road test in an auto, now am I only drive a manual.
I'm not gonna lie, you know, it's just
I
it's so much, you know, it's just so much, man. I don't know where to start. I really feel like as far as the health part always gets me healthcare. Having free education over there, that's pretty cool. Which I said about driving through different countries, that's awesome too. It was so much said there. It was just like so much to think about. I'm looking forward to the comments, you know, and really see what y'all got to say in the comments. And to be honest with you, I really want to try some German chocolate, like some legit German chocolate. That's really what I'm thinking about after hearing the whole chocolate thing. Uh, I want to feel like I'm in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. So, but with that being said, man, the original link will be in the description. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you wish. And I'll be back with more. Which I thought about that. I mean, it pretty much was Americans just we was getting roasted, man, heavy.